Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to A Drink with Live. This is our 10th episode. We're so stoked. So we're so glad that you were here. And if you are new to the show, this is a space where you get to come as you are, have some fun, and hopefully leave having learned a thing or two through all of this sharing and this shared experience with our amazing virtual audience, which is you guys. So thank you for showing up and taking the time. And don't forget, I'm not the only one asking the questions tonight. My name is Catt, by the way. I forgot that part. You guys get to ask questions of our very special guest as well. So get those questions ready. Turn your cameras on, and we will get to you in just a little bit. A huge thank you to our sponsor, Think Protein Bars, for making this possible week after week. So let's get to our guest. Truth is, I met her on a ski trip, and not only was I stunned by her obvious beauty, but also she's ridiculously good on skis, and also just a humble person, whip smart, and really open and cool. So let's welcome Kate Bock back to the show. Hi, Kate.
Hello, how are you?
Cheers.
Oh, start with the cheers right away, huh? Yeah.
I'm in my happy place. I got a drink, I got you, and I haven't seen you for a minute. So we should tell everyone what we are drinking. What do you have there?
We are drinking Pompette. Voila. Pompette is a hard sparkling seltzer. It's natural, it's clean, it's free, it's light, it's delicious. You can drink it by itself on ice. You can make a mixed drink with it. Low calorie. It's 48 calories per glass, 160 per bottle. It's amazing. Try it. I'm going to just pull it right out of the top so you can see it.
It's amazing. Try it. You covered all the stuff. I have to say, because I have been drinking this off and on now for probably 6 months or so, but it is really light, really crisp. And there is that kind of guiltless feeling when you're drinking it, because it's a real treat. But like you said, only like 40 calories or something. So we should disclose that you are the chief brand officer for this. And I think, hold on, I'm going to take a sip. Cheers. I think a lot of people may not realize, a lot of people probably came tonight or are watching because they obviously know you and you're a public figure and you're all over the covers of magazines and you're on red carpets, but you have this role in this company. So what drew you to this opportunity?
Yeah, so actually Pompette came to me as just a gifting opportunity through Sports Illustrated, which was very nice. So last summer I got a bunch of it. And it was really, once I got the bottle in my hands, I saw the branding, I saw the packaging, it could be compared to a canned hard sparkling seltzer, and just the bottle is a little bit more elevated. You can screw the top on and off, you can reuse it. It's clean, it's low calorie, it's light. For me, it kind of hit all the target points of something that I wanted to get involved with and I was really interested in. So we had a bunch of different talks with them and tried to figure out how I could work with them beyond just doing sort of a post or just sharing one time about something. So I really got involved and I get to work with the company. I'm in distributor meetings, I'm running their social, I'm doing a lot for their branding and aesthetic, and hosting events and just kind of trying to get the name out there because it's a product that I really believe in.
Yeah, I'm tired of hearing about it. I mean, that's like a full-time job right there. I mean, that's a lot. Like, talk about somebody who's involved. I mean, the fact you're even doing the social media is wild. So, so you're kind of really invested beyond just monetarily, but just in the actual quality of this offering, which is really cool. And I know a lot of work. It can be very time. Has anything surprised you? Because this is really kind of you've got the model thing completely, I would imagine. You've got that perfected, but this is, this is business. Well, not that model isn't, but this is a different industry. Has anything surprised you about dipping into this?
I mean, I think it's taking things on in a whole different kind of genre. And as a model, you just kind of show up to set. And as long as you sort of feel good and look good, you're good to go. And this requires a lot more sort of behind the scenes work before you actually get into a meeting. So it's been really interesting also being very often the only woman in a meeting and kind of just being put on the spot to kind of give your spiel and talk about a product and really try to sell it. So I think it's been really interesting to challenge myself in new ways, but it also find it easy when it's something that I actually believe in and I can just speak naturally from the heart. So it's not like I have to memorize sort of all these different facts. It's really just something that I know and I like. So I'm happy to talk about it. So it's been really cool also getting involved in a brand from the creative side and sort of actually having input in the way things look and the way they're presented and sharing them and creating photos with the brand. And it's been really cool working with a brand in that way from sort of the behind the scenes side as well as front facing to the camera.
Totally. And you just brought up a point that I didn't really think about, but the beverage industry, I guess, is pretty male dominated, huh? Like you find yourself in these spaces where you are a minority.
Totally. I mean, it even came down to sort of like styling, like what I would normally wear to a casting, and then I'm in a distributor meeting and I was like, what do you wear to these? Like, how does this work? Like, what are people expecting? And it took a few times to go through it to kind of get comfortable and sort of know my place in it. But now it feels very natural and it's cool to sort of see this whole different side of business that I wasn't really aware of before.
Well, seeing as though our show is a drink with, we're big fans. We love it. We love it. And we wish you all the best with it as I just continue to, it's been one of those days. I'm just going to I might even pour my second glass before the end of this show, which would be a first.
Respect.
So talk and drink. Well, you can with Pompette. So don't mind me. I will. Before we get to career, what?
Pompette just means a little bit tipsy in French, so let's do that.
Okay. Oh my God, don't ask me twice. See, look here. Don't, Kate. It's just one of those days. Don't mind if I just a little bit tipsy, and then it's the end of the day. That's the beauty of the timing of the show. You just kind of roll into bed. Yeah. It's all good. It is all good. Yeah. Before we move on and get to more career stuff, I certainly want updates on that and all the things that you're doing. I have to get the wedding update. I'm sure a lot of people here are wanting to hear the very latest. Kate got engaged, you guys, at the height of the pandemic, which that's cool. But because of these times and because of the world in which we're living, I know the last time we spoke, you weren't really committed to a date and you were kind of just trying to figure things out. So what's the latest on that?
So we are committing to next summer. I think we're just going to will the world into a healthy place and hope for the best. I know a lot of my friends' weddings have already been postponed or canceled from last summer and this summer. So I'm just kind of praying that next summer feels like a solid time. And then honestly, a lot of my friends keep asking, and until we have like the specific date and location, it's very hard to kind of do any of the other steps. I think it's like there's going to be an avalanche once I lock down the one moment. But we have some ideas. We're very excited. We sort of are starting. I've created multiple mood boards on all of the vibes and playlists. So that's what I've really taken under my belt. But yeah, I think once we kind of set those next steps, then we can sort of try food or look into music or DJ. I just until a date, it's a little bit hard.
Yeah, I know. It's a hard time. I feel for everybody planning a wedding or trying to do this during these times. It's extraordinarily more difficult than it already is trying to plan one of these things. I forgot to mention, or for those who might not know, that your fiance is NBA star Kevin Love, super hottie, super multi-talented guy. And you had said in the past that you guys were really, really on the same page as far as planning goes, because aesthetically, you guys love the same style and all that. Have you had any bridezilla moments, or have you had any little love spats over any particular detail of the wedding planning?
So no, we're weirdly very aligned on our decor vibe. We have a shared album of mood board ideas and we're very much on the same page. I would say he's better at music, so I told him that's his assignment, that he needs to make the playlist and the do not playlists, which I think is actually a very interesting list. The do not play.
That's an
important thing. Yeah. Very interesting. So we're working on that. Yeah. And then I think wedding size is what we're kind of trying to decide between, because you can't have everyone and we love so many people in our lives. And then where do you draw a line? And I don't want to draw a line between any of the people that I care about. So it just kind of gets tough. And do you just invite everyone? And I don't know. That's where I'm having a little trouble.
I know. Well, I'm certain of one thing. The food will be great. The cake will be great because you guys, if you don't follow Kate on Instagram, your food offerings, your health recipes, all of the things, I'm always looking to you to learn new things. I mean, you are by definition in my book a complete wellness expert. I mean, you do the work, you do the study, you don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. You're always working out and you're always eating. You're so passionate about healthy living. You're such an advocate for that. And in fact, you were on a board in schools called Wellness in Schools, a nonprofit that is nationally known to really educate and help the kids out there as well. So I guess my question is just, well, first, do you ever have a cheat meal? And if you do, what is it?
Okay, so it's funny because I do get this question a lot. And we even have one of Kevin's best friends is in town right now, and they keep trying to tempt me into like a cheat meal. And I'm not saying I don't enjoy a cheat meal. I do, but I think they get annoyed that my cheat meals, I think, are still healthy to some people. Like, I just don't really like really sugary things. I don't really like them.
Yeah.
So my cheat meal, for example, last night after dinner, my treat was I mashed up bananas, mixed them with an egg and vanilla, and then you make a banana pancake. And then I melted some dark chocolate and drizzled it on top with some almond butter, Abby's almond butter, in fact, another brand I'm involved with, but very delicious, and some toasted almonds on top. And it makes like a nice little banana pancake, chocolatey, delicious treat. So to me, that's like I'm spoiling myself, but to them, they're like, "Are you serious? We're not just gonna go to like the ice cream truck? Like, what's wrong with you?"
I understand that critique because I grew up in the Midwest, and you and I've talked about this before. Like, I understand like what was once considered a really good cheat meal is really a bad meal, and that like I just don't pull up to fast food anymore because some people think, oh yes, I get to go through the drive-through, that's my cheat meal, I'm hungover or whatever. But I do appreciate, I know what you mean now. Once you really understand, and I know this for you, and maybe you can share this with people a little bit, like it's really about, it's this relationship with food when, I mean, it sounds crazy, but you love your body so much that you just don't desire putting that crap in. Even so, for cheating, it's not even like a reward. It's like it's pain. Am I saying that right? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, that's where I feel like the treat I just explained, that I'll eat, I'll enjoy, and I have no problem with it. I'm still gonna feel great tomorrow. Maybe it's higher calorie than I normally eat, but really, like, who cares? It's fine. I do find the times when I go off the rails, like you're at a vacation or you're at a friend's house, whatever, you just eat whatever is there. I just really significantly notice how much worse I feel energy wise, like bags under my eyes, just feeling bit bloated or just like tired or sore. And that to me isn't worth it. Like it just doesn't feel good. And then I imagine so many people feel like that all the time. And you just don't even know how much better you could feel if you ate healthy foods. Like headaches. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it is about education. And I think it's like also that piece of getting access to good, healthy food, which I bring back what I just mentioned, this Wellness in Schools initiative. It gets me really fired up when I think that, there are certain socioeconomic groups and certain people that just don't even have access to healthy food. So what led you to want to be involved in that? Because I know you grew up you grew up in a household where food and the importance of healthy food was really a virtue in your house. So why did you want to take this into the schools and be involved?
Yeah, I would say I grew up eating really healthy, and at the time I thought it was like annoying, I was like, ugh, I can't wait to go to my friend's house just so I can have Fruit Loops so I can like cheat. My mom will find out. That kind of, I wanted to spoil myself. But really now I'm so grateful for it because I learned healthy eating habits young. And I think I'm drawn to those foods because they're not only good for me, but they also actually have nostalgic kind of feelings. So it's, if you learn young that those things are good and that they can be delicious, then they're kind of more what you're drawn to. And I was looking for somehow to get involved in kind of like that space. And I literally Googled wellness in schools. And I found Wellness in the Schools, that is a New York City based charity that helps provide and teach parents with young kids that are underprivileged kind of healthy eating habits, different ways to kind of make healthy foods on a low budget. They help provide school lunches for kids. They do little workouts like on YouTube. We kind of created some videos that you can do workouts with me with the kids, because during COVID I wasn't able to go into schools, of course, but we found a way to do it virtually. So it's kind of just teaching health and wellness to kids at a young age. And I think that's just a tool that's so important for kids to have, and just to know and to kind of learn how much better you really do feel when you eat clean and you move your body.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I'm certain on some level, in some way, your own lifestyle doing that, I mean, has really contributed to the level of success that you've had in your career, because as a mega model, doing mega jobs, it's a good thing that you operate that way and live that way, because it's certainly contributed to the way you're perceived on the page and as a model and how you do your work each day. Which brings me to congratulations, because again, you were featured once again. Does this ever get old hearing congrats? You're within the pages of Sports Illustrated Swimsuit magazine. I mean, we're pushing a decade of involvement. You've been on the cover, you're within the pages. So how does it feel to walk by a newsstand and just still see yourself involved in this publication, knowing its reach, knowing its impact? I mean, it's iconic. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. The team that works there is just like really a joy to work with. They're just wonderful people. And at this point, so this is my 9th year. I got to make the decade. I feel like that's my goal. You know, the decade is kind of a big move. It's a boss move. I don't know. I think now I have so much more, maybe like I'm so much more comfortable on set. I can just speak my mind. If I, like a swimsuit or don't like, or I feel uncomfortable, I just say exactly how I feel. And I just walk in there just knowing I feel good. So maybe it was more of an anxious thing before I shot and before I would have the pictures come out. And now it's just like exciting, and I can't wait to see my friends, and we get to travel the world together, and it's a pleasure. And I know the photographers, like I've kind of circled around and done most of them. So every time I shoot with someone, usually that I know already. So it just feels super comfortable, and it's more cracking stupid jokes all day than nervousness, which is great.
Yeah. It's like being an upperclassman, right? A little bit. I was having that conversation with my son, who is now a junior in high school. He's like, yeah, this show's amazing. I was like, yeah, it beats being a freshman, doesn't it? You kind of know what you're doing. You know the halls, you know the teachers. There's a confidence that comes along with that. You know the deal. You know the deal. Well, congrats again, and I'm sure that you'll make that 10-year marker. You've been around long enough to know that the industry has changed a lot. I mean, it just takes one glance of the pages of this year's issue to know that the models have changed, the types of models has changed, the accessibility is really there now. The models themselves just look different. So what has it been like to be part of that kind of transformation within the pages and within the industry as a whole?
So what I noticed, which is kind of interesting, is when we first started, we always do big launches for Sports Illustrated when it comes out. So we have multiple days in multiple cities, and we do autograph signings and events and all that sort of stuff. And it used to be that you would have men in line, and it was always funny because they'd be like, oh, can you sign this? It's for my wife. And you're like, cool. And then now you end up with lots of young girls who come up and they're crying because they feel like finally someone in this issue looks like me and I feel represented. And if you can do it, I can do it. And everyone has someone to relate to. And I think they've also done a really good job of showing more personality, and they do these big deep dive interviews with us, and they really ask you about your history and how you got here and your story. So people can really get to know the girls more than just in a photo. So I think people feel just way more connected to the issue and to the girls. But it's just really the audience change that I noticed. It used to always be men at the lineups, and now it's like younger girls, which is really cool.
Wow.
And they feel really impacted by it. So they're doing something right.
Yeah, that's really, really cool to hear. And I just wonder for you personally, again, having, seen the changes, were you the kind of hoping for the shift? Because, I mean, you look at something like Victoria's Secret, they've done away with the idea of angels. There's an image overhaul going on for a lot of these companies and how the industry is just shifting. Were you hoping for that? Were you, obviously you've been on the pulse of this because it's your profession, but was it a welcomed change that you're seeing?
Yeah. So I was actually having this conversation the other day too, and I think it's really interesting that if you actually got in a room of models and could hear them talking, I think it really breeds insecurity. And so many of these really beautiful women that so many people look up to or really find aspirational or whatever really have all these insecurities because they've worked in an industry where people just sort of pick you apart all the time. And so with the industry changing and it's really open to different body types, different shapes, like we don't all have to be as skinny as we possibly can be and show our bones, which is what it was like when I started. And I never felt like I could be skinny enough. And I am someone who's thin. And so I always felt like I can't complain about this to anybody. Like in reality, this is like a ridiculous statement. But in my job, people every day are telling me like, can you just be a little skinnier? Like, can you just eat a little less? Can you just work out a little bit more? And that really messed with my head for a long time. I would definitely say in my early 20s and maybe my late teens when I first started, I would struggle so hard. Like, I feel like I'm not eating anything. Like, what more can I do to be skinny? I just don't know. Well, now I feel like I can walk into any set and maybe I found a really good balance that works for me. I don't feel like I deprive myself, and I do enjoy my treats, even if they're funny, healthy treats that someone else might not think is a treat, but it works for me and I feel good and I don't feel deprived at all. I drink plenty of wine and pompette and I enjoy myself. So I can always walk into a set and feel confident. Well, when I first started, it was always like, oh my God, are they going to think my arm is too big? Or like, is my chest bones not showing enough? Like, oh my God, are they going to send me home? Because they did that. They would say that. They had sample sizes, and fashion shows, people wear the sample sizes and then they hand those fashion show sample sizes out for editorial. So if you don't fit in the clothes, which is the same piece of clothing, which is like a 00, then you can't shoot it. So you have to go home. And that, I feel like the humiliation that I felt from those moments, I don't wish that on anyone else. Like that was really awful. So now that there are different body types and different women out there that show all the different spectrum of kind of beauty that there is, that everyone feels like they can relate to someone, and that's really important.
Well, thank you for being so honest, because I mean that sounds literally torturous. I mean that sounds like somebody would need a lot of therapy after going through that day after day. You know what I mean? Like that's not nice. I mean that sounds,
No, I say
borderline.
all the time I wouldn't recommend modeling to anyone unless they have a thick skin, because if you are someone that would take stuff like that personally, which is very easy to do, and I did for a long time, but I somehow was able to not let it affect me too much, but it can tear you apart. It really, having people measure you and look at you and just go like, yeah, you're not good enough. Literally. It's messed up.
So how did you rise above that? Because you always exude confidence and a real empowerment about you, and you're so multi-layered in all that you do. One of the reasons we love you so much. But where do you get that power from, that self-love, and how do you make sure that you kind of radiate that to your I was going to say mostly female following. I don't know if it's mostly men or mostly women, but I know that you are purpose driven. I know that nothing you put out there is without thought. So what does that look like for you? Where does that come from?
I mean, I honestly think that I was just really lucky to grow up with a family that fully supported me. I remember when I I finished high school and I moved to Paris, to a foreign country that I'd never been to, and walked into a world that I had never really known before. I did a little bit of kind of acting jobs in Vancouver, Canada as a kid, but I didn't really know what high fashion was like in Paris. But I had such a good supportive family and group of friends that I always think I knew I could go home and no one would care. If I wanted to quit, I could, and it wouldn't actually affect anyone's opinion of me, because if I just told them what was going on and what it was like, they would still think of me exactly the same way. And I wanted it so badly. I think I had the parts that I really struggled with, but I also loved being on set and loved being a character and loved taking on a role. And now when I do jobs, I bring, inspiration and really try to get into a character and kind of create it with the team and give references so we can all be aligned. And I think I really love being involved with the whole project. And I was so drawn to that I wanted to figure out, I felt like there was a way that it was going to work. I just needed to figure it out. And I needed to find the right balance for me. But I went from, eating at home and my mom cooking organic meals and playing every single sport to moving to a foreign country where I don't recognize the grocery store. I don't know what anything is. I don't have any money. I, lived off of a very strict budget that I got loaned from the agency. So I had to kind of figure out, I couldn't afford to go to a gym, and I didn't play sports anymore, and I had to cook for myself for the first time. So it was a big learning curve. And I think I just wanted it badly enough and was lucky to have really good friends that I met in model apartments, friends from home, and I have a ridiculous amount of cousins that I can always reach out to when I'm having a hard time. So I think really having a supportive group of people around you makes all the difference.
Totally understand that and get that. Community is everything, however that looks and whatever that looks like. We have one question coming up for you in just a second, but I just lastly, I guess, nobody's on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swim. Nobody is on the cover of Sports Illustrated. See, this is what happens when you start drinking the Pompet and you've had about just a little bit tipsy. Nobody is on the cover of Sports Illustrated Swim without confidence and without strength. I mean, that's certainly what you exude. Of course, sexy and of course, beautiful, but strength. I mean, I think that is, we as women, as you were saying, I look at these images and it makes me proud to be a woman. When do you feel your absolute strongest? Is it when you are modeling? Is it when you're, I don't know, volunteering at the schools? Or is it when you're in that boardroom with all those men around the table and you're like, this is how we're going to do my business? When do you really just feel strong and tough and invincible?
I think I do really enjoy being in the gym. I do really enjoy kind of feeling the rewards of my workout, when you're sore because you did something that got you there. Or if you, I just took up tennis. I'm not good at all, but I'm learning. And so when I do hit one that really is placed perfectly, that is amazing. And I think it's similarly when I prepare for a meeting and it's something I'm passionate about and something I care about, and I can't wait to share it and sort of have my opportunity on the mic to do my presentation. I love that. I love I'm definitely, I guess, someone who likes having the microphone and being in the spotlight because it feels good when you nail it.
That's right. That's right, baby. Okay. Well, that's awesome. Okay. Jacqueline, I believe our first question from our virtual audience is coming from Jacqueline. So Jacqueline, you are up to ask Kate your question.
Hi, Kate. So you talked a little bit about just the difficulties in the industry. And I think there's a quote, comparison is the thief of joy. So I'm wondering how you kind of deal with that, being head on, being compared to so many different people and being chosen based off of that. How do you kind of find that strength when you're feeling insecure or you're being compared to other people?
Yeah, so that's actually interesting because I do think whatever you feel insecure about is what you assume. If someone else has that thing the way you want it, you think they have everything going for them. You don't know that they struggle with something else and they have something else going on at home or something else going on in their head that you have no idea about. So I think realizing that, like, you know, whatever my insecurity is, if you don't have it, that doesn't mean you're perfect either. And everyone has their own internal struggles, and we're not really being compared to one another. You know, if she gets the job instead of me, which happens all the time because we're put up for jobs every day. So I think we learn rejection is number one. And then when you book something, it's like, woohoo, I got one of all of these that I tried out for. So you just have to realize you never know why someone got it before you, or, you know, it was their time and not yours. It's not because they're better than you. Maybe they had a connection. Maybe they had already done it 10 times and this was their. I just don't assume it's because I wasn't good enough. I assume it's because it was their time.
I like that.
I like that too. Love that. Love that. And I may have lied. We have one more question. Jamie Wolf. Jamie has a question for you, and then we are done. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hi.
Oop, hear me?
Yeah.
I'm also dealing with the COVID bride situation, and I'm wondering if you, this could be a rapid fire question. If you could get married anywhere in the world right now, COVID aside, where would it be?
Here, I'm in the Hamptons right now, and it's beautiful, and I love it. Makes me very happy. And
I
it's
do not
like
blame you.
still warm. There's a few brown leaves falling, but overall it's like 75 and sunny. So it's kind of that ideal don't sweat in your suit too much, because I do worry about that for my fiance.
Love that. I love that. Okay, and I have one last question. What is on that no playlist list? Can you give us a song or two?
Oh, so we're not into like techno vibes at all for the wedding. We're gonna go more like Sinatra inspired. So I think we might also cut the like "We Are Family." Like, to me, those are like bar mitzvah and bar mitzvah songs, which is really cute and lovely, but like it's not happening that night.
That is my karaoke song of choice, which is precisely why it would not be your wedding and precisely why I'm probably not getting invited. But I would like to come on Zoom. Can you just Zoom me in? I just want to be there. I'll just be a little fly on the wall when that happens, whenever that
For
happens.
sure. Play by play.
Play by play. Well, thank you, as always, for just sharing of yourself and just being such a bright and shining example of a woman out there doing her thing, doing it well, keeping it positive, shining all the time. Thanks, Kate, because now I'm like a whole bottle in. It's good. Where's our audience? I want to toast with our audience one more time, because I usually do that at the beginning of the show and I didn't. So where are you guys at?
Ooh,
cheers.
Hey, guys.
There they are. Ooh, see, other people have full-on
Hi.
bottles. Is that Alex full bottle?
Respect.
I think it might be.
Yes, it is.
I've never seen her. Okay. Thanks for joining, everyone. And Kate, thank you so much. Lots of love to you and Kevin and your
So
adorable dog.
Okay, speaking of dogs, though, where is your puppy at?
You know, I was thinking she might be around. Don't move, everybody. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. She might be
She just
here.
got the cutest white, beautiful puppy that I did contribute a name to her question, but she did not select the one that I submitted. But let's see this fluffy little thing.
Of course, I can't find her. I don't know where
It's
she
okay.
is. She's somewhere. I thought for sure she'd be at my feet, and I did want you to meet her. I wanted everyone to meet her next time. That's a tease.
Okay.
Tune in
We'll
to
do
next
a puppy.
week's show.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Puppy play date.
Thank you again, Kate. Thank you, everybody. And don't forget to go to adrinkwith.com, where you can see this whole interview online. And a thank you to Think Protein Bars for making it all possible per use. Cheers. Lots of love, everyone.
Cheers. Thank you, guys.